Hi, I'm Marilyn Sanclementi of Stamp with Marilyn, and welcome to my Creative Playground. Today I'm going to show you how to use this new set called Peaceful View. And I have to admit that when I first saw this set, I was thinking, it's a background stamp, and how else can you use it? And then I started playing around with it, and oh, I really love it. So I am going to show you some little tricks today that I learned when I made this card. Okay, so I'm going to put that right up there so you can see that. I am using my Stamparatus. They're no longer available for purchase through Stampin' Up. So, but anyway, that's not going to stop me from using mine. So, okay, let me get this going. So the first thing I want to do is I used the blending brushes and I colored this really pretty background. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to color in the background of this, and I want to do kind of a sunset type of background. So I'm going to use Timid Tiger and Darling Duckling, which are two of the new in colors. And I am going to kind of color in that sky background. Before you start coloring, you need a sheet of paper so that you can use that. And I like the grid paper because that allows me to kind of moderate our colors. So as you can see, when you first ink up, oh boy, oh, I just got yellow for my finger. When you first ink up, you're going to get a dark version of that color. So you want to kind of get rid of those little blobs and spread your color out. Okay. And spread the color out. So I kind of go around, and I know that this piece is going to be much bigger than the front of the card, but this is a large stamp. So I am going to color in quite a bit of area. Okay, so I've got the yellow on here. And now I'm going to use the Timid Tiger. Move that over. There we go. So I have an orange blending brush. And now I want to kind of work that orange in so that I'm getting a darker background. Kind of a setting sun type of thing. Okay. Okay, so that gives me a nice background, kind of a afternoon sun setting, sun getting ready to set type of look. And for this particular card, I also used the new strawberry slush on top of the orange and the yellow when I was finished, but I'm not going to do that for this particular one. And this card, I want to make the leaves look like a fall. I would like this to look like a fall card. So I'm going to use some different colors to color the leaves. And what I found yesterday was that if I use my markers to color this stamp, because it is one large stamp, and one option would be to color this all in one color, but then you kind of lose that the details of the stamp. So what I wanted to do was try and show you how to do this. And I'm going to attempt, I have not tried this before, but I'm going to attempt to do a card with fall leaves on it. So what you want to do is you want to take the brush side of your marker, okay? And I'm just going to go over these tree branches. So I want to try and get some of those branches in there. And you can kind of pick them out. I'm going to go down the trunk of the tree. Get that. Here's some more branches. Now the other thing that I found is, as you know, these are water-based inks and they do dry pretty quickly, but I am going to I will get them started again. You can huff on the inks to get them going, or you can also go over them as well. That little off of there. And so now what I want to do is I want to do the grass. I'm going to use Old Olive for the grass. So I'm going to color in down here. And as you can see, there's this fence. So I'm leaving the fence. And I'm going to do that in the brown, in the pecan pie. Okay, so there's the Old Olive. I've got that. So now what I want to do is grab these plants back here, and I'm also going to color those green with the Old Olive. There we go. So you just kind of want to go back and forth. It takes a bit to color this. And the other thing that just dawned on me was I was wondering if you could use a spray bottle to kind of reactivate the ink before you stamp, after you've colored this all in, but we'll see. Okay, so there we go. So we've got that. Got our greens there. And we've got our cute little birdie. I'm going to make him a robin. Or I'm sorry, not a robin. A cardinal. I love cardinals. Okay. And then let's do the fence. So I'm just going to go down like this. Go across, go across. So the key to this, when I did this other card yesterday, was I went back over it after I stamped it. So I colored the stamp, went back over it again, and kind of filled in with some of the details. And I'll show you how I did that. Okay. I think this card is beautiful. Okay, now what I wanted to do was, last night I used the Mossy Meadow, which is the dark green, for the leaves on the trees. And what I want to do today is I would really like the trees to be in fall colors. So I'm going to change that a little bit. And I have the Timid Tiger. I have the Crushed Curry, which is a dark yellow. And then I have red and Cajun Craze. So what I'm going to do is just kind of sporadically color these leaves, kind of in groups. Because you know how leaves kind of turn. Okay, so I'm just going to do some fun. So I've got Cajun Craze that I'm using right now. Okay, and then I'm going to use orange, the Timid Tiger. So we'll kind of blend that with the Cajun Craze. And I have no clue how this is going to turn out, so we will see. Okay, so we've got some orange. And let's try a little bit of yellow. So I've got some crushed curry. Oops, looks like my crushed curry is dry. Okay, maybe we won't use crushed curry, because that looks like that's dry. And so then let's use some red, because we know that trees turn, we kind of get that orangey red, and okay, probably put a little too much red right there. Okay, I'll go back in and fill in more with the Cajun Craze. And I'm recording a video. I should have turned my phone on Do Not Disturb airplane mode. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more because I've got a lot of red now since my yellow wasn't working too well. And I'm going to go back and blend some more with the Cajun Craze. Kind of get that kind of a mixed, more of a mixed bag. And we'll see how it comes out. This is an experiment. And you get to watch me play along. Okay. Okay, let's try this. And one way, oops, there's the green. Let me add some more to this down here. Okay. One way to kind of reactivate this is to huff. And the really good part about using the Stamparatus is it's a positioning tool, and as long as I don't move the stamp, I can recolor sections, and we can go from there. So let's see how that came out. Oh, that came out very red. All right, it did come out. And so let's recolor some of this in here. And let's see, I also want to touch up the cardinal. Oops, shoot, I didn't do a very good job there. Okay. I'm going to fill in some more. looks like I need to do over here, this area. Okay, and this time I'm going to use more of the Cajun Craze because I did get a lot of red in that. And let me fix some of the branches. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, oh, that's so pretty. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Okay. Now, so then what I did, I do want to touch up down here for the grass. So that's this. No, that's that part. That's this down here. Okay, the detail of that. We'll do that. There we go. Oh, that looks, wow. That is so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, what I did was I added a lot of detail to this, and I did that by taking I did this dark green and went through around up here. So I'm actually thinking that I might leave that alone because that's good. You know, that looks nice. But what I'm going to do is now take the other tip, the writing tip on this, and just go back in and just kind of fill in a little bit and just draw some lines. And it looks like, then it looks like the bark that's on the wood. And it just adds more detail to it. But you get the idea. And isn't that beautiful? I just love that. And then the other thing that I did was I added some depth down here with the green. But I think with the lines going across, it looks like the grass was just cut, that type of thing. So, okay, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to clean this off. I'm just using a baby wipe, and I'm cleaning the ink off. Okay, so this one, I want to do a little bit different color. I was thinking the cloud cover combination. This one I was going to do more of a night sky. And so this is cloud cover. And this is Highland Heather. And I'm thinking that if we do kind of a cloud cover background, now I'm going to go back through, and I'm actually thinking that since this is dark, or this is a nighttime piece, I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow, which is the dark green. That's this one. And I'm going to use that down here. So the other thing that's very important that I should have mentioned at the beginning, and I didn't, is do not use blends on this, because blends will not come off. They're alcohol based. They will not come off of your stamps. So definitely don't use blends. Make sure you use your water-based markers. Which is the older orange, and it's a dark orange. As you can imagine, it's the color of pumpkins. So I'm going to blend those together, fill that in. So this will be orange. And those trees that you see when you're driving through the mountains, and they're gorgeous in the fall, and they're just all yellow and orange. And okay, I'll try and stamp this and see how this works. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to activate. And again, because you're using a stamp positioning tool, you can just keep coloring over it. Ooh, look at that. We can just keep coloring over that and going back and forth on it. Okay, so it looks like up here I need to fill in a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. I need to get so this is one of those things where you just keep working at it, and I think the hard part with this is knowing when to stop. So, ooh, that actually didn't get that to be, that's interesting. It didn't fill all that in. Okay, I'm going to use this end here. This time I'll be a little more delicate. My birdie. And trying to think about how I could do. Okay, so I'm actually thinking that if I did some of this, I know I colored on the paper and not on the stamp, but I'm thinking the stamp will kind of blend it in a little bit more. Okay, so now let's do some more on the detail of the tree here. There we go. I like that. So what do you think? Do we like it? Thumbs up, thumbs down? I am going to try and fill in with some of these greens a little bit. And I did use the Mossy Meadow. So I will okay, let's try that. Oh, that's pretty. Wow. That came out really nice. Okay, I really like that. I think that came out really nice. Okay, I'm going to wash off my stamp. Okay, I'm back. I've trimmed these down a little bit. And so what I'm going to do now is attach these. I'm going to trim that. I have a little bit of extra over here. So what I did was I mounted this one on a Cajun Craze, since that's primarily the color that we used. And I will trim this. It's so pretty. And I'm mounting this one on Timid Tiger. There we go. That's pretty. Okay, so let's trim this over here. There we go. As my grandmother always said, she was a seamstress, and she said, you can always cut off, but you can't add on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have a piece of basic beige that I've made a card base, so I'm just going to put that underneath here. Okay. Oh, that's so pretty. I love that. And this one came out dark, but it didn't come out as dark. I guess I could have gone with a little bit darker, or maybe mix some more blue into that. Would have worked. Okay. Oops, that's going to hang over. Okay, this one I did not cut down. This one is too wide. This one, the whole thing is too wide. Okay, so let me take this apart. kind of lift this and cut that down just a little bit. There we go. I think that will do it. Now, I just need to trim this just a little bit more here. Ta-da! Took all the edge off. Okay, now, let me get this back together. And hopefully... Okay, here we go. There are our 2 cards. Now, what I did do here was I re-stamped, I don't know where I put it. Oh, here he is. Okay, I re-stamped that little guy. And where's my take your pick tool? It's of course not here. Okay. Use my nail and kind of work him back in. There we go. There. I think that looks a little bit better. Okay. There we go. There are our 3 different color shades. So there's so much you can do with this. I just think it's a really pretty stamp set. And it's funny because when we got the stamp set, I'm like, what are we going to do with this? It's such a big set. And yeah, it's like, what do you do with a stamp when it's that big? But here we go. So thank you so much for stopping by tonight. I am filming this so that I can play it while I'm off on vacation. So hopefully you all get something out of this and learn something. And I will see you all soon. Take care.